Nick, can you hear us now? Everybody else, can everybody else hear?
Can hear fine.
Okay. Good deal. Okay, all right, welcome everyone. Rock and roll. Let's get started. Sorry for that little technical delay. It's always something. Always something. Okay. And here we go. All right, you guys see that? We're going to go ahead and get through this. I know for some of you, this is brand new. For some of you, some of this is familiar. And maybe there's just a couple of things that are updated. But thanks for making some time. We are in our 28th year with the Corporate Cup Games. And I just always want to give a shout out to FPL for coming on board as our gold sponsor this year. Really appreciate that. This is one of our favorite days, our Y team, because I think the only thing we don't like about it is that we don't get to put a team in because everybody's working. But our goal is to really provide you with a safe experience and to bring as many things as we can so that you can just show up with your team and have a good time. And so what I want to do is a very quick overview of what to expect that day, a little look at some of the games and kind of the yes, no, maybe what you can and can't do for that day. And then what we need next moving forward. So, all right. So our event day schedule, our team will be out there the Friday afternoon before and then very early on Saturday doing all of our setup. You are welcome to come out when we are out there on Friday afternoon. We're usually there by about 3 o'clock, or to get there in the wee hours if you'd like with us. But basically we need you, at least some good group of your team, ready to go by 8 o'clock. So we will have some breakfast items. We'll be getting you signed in. Every participant gets a gift from us. So we've got a few things happening. If your CEO, and we'll talk about that CEO participation, but if your CEO is there that day, we will ask him or her to come and sign in. So we know that they're there. You get some bonus points for that. But we really do try to start on time for 8 o'clock. And we have some fanfare with Olympic music, and we march around the track and we kind of rally. We do an opening prayer, national anthem, some great welcoming remarks, light the torch, and then we go. So if we start on time, we can stay on schedule. I know everybody's got a lot going on and we want to make sure that we try to get you done by 2 o'clock at the latest. If everything goes well, it'll be sooner than that. But what happens after our opening ceremonies is we start our rounds of events. And we have 4 rounds of individual events. So for those 4 45-minute slots, there will be 4 things going on at the same time. And I'll show you when we get to the map, you can kind of get an idea. Most things are happening right on that field around the track, but some are scattered. And so your job as team captain, in addition to kind of being that cheerleader, is to keep your people organized. So I provide you with a couple of tools to help with that. But what we're really to figure out, okay, who's doing which event? Clearly, someone cannot be participating in 2 events that are taking place at the same time. And, you may have some people who can be there for the first half of the day, but not the second, or vice versa. So we go through those rounds of events. Then at about noon, we will have our individual event awards. So we do a first, second, and third place for all of those 16 events. And then we regroup and come back together for tug of war. And that's always a lot of fun. It's kind of our big last hurrah. And then we hold back a few things until the very end and put up final results. I'm just going to kind of keep going through this. Feel free to interrupt if you have a question at the moment, but I'm happy to take whatever questions at the end as well. All right, so this is a little bit of a map of what the things look like. So this first one is, and these are in your captain's manual, which I will be sending all of this stuff out again after this meeting. But this is kind of a wide view where you can see the campus. There's the baseball field and the tennis courts right there, and then that whole track and field area. So most people will park here wherever you can get. But if you get there early enough, you usually can get in the slot. Know that you cannot drive out onto this track. So what you're bringing out there, you've got to have a good plan for being able to get everything out and move it out. So that's a little bit of a wide view. This is a little closer view of where we are. So we do have one event in the basketball gym, one event in the pool, a couple of events on the tennis courts, and one event that's a little further out here by the softball field. But everything else is taking place in this track area. And that's one of the great things about being at Pensacola State is you can really see, you're very close and you can see what's going on. So all of these little squares represent your spots. And we'll talk just a little bit about that. But again, as you're coming to set up your spot in that Olympic Village, just know that you got to get everything out there. So this again is in your manual as well. So we do provide you with a few things in addition to running the day. And as I mentioned, everyone will get a little take home, a little practical gift from us from the Y. We do have plenty of beverages, and Buffalo Rock, who's on this call right now, has come on as our drink sponsor as well. Yay! So we'll keep everybody nice and hydrated for the day. Olive Baptist Church, who is also represented on this call, will be grilling for us. Sean, I confirmed that with Sean this morning via Michael. So looks like y'all are in again. So we'll actually have hamburgers and hot dogs and a good sandwich, good hot lunch that day for everyone. Breakfast, snacks in the morning and all. And then we set up that Olympic Village area. So when we look back at, Andrea. So when we look back at this map, these little spots here, that's each, you have at least a 20 by 20 area. And you can feel free to set that up. We'll talk a little bit about what that looks like in that Olympic Village. And then we have, we'll have first aid on site that day, just in case anybody scrapes a knee or twerks an elbow. And Ascension Sacred Heart will be out there helping us with that. And then we do all the awards at the end as well. So I always go through to bring or not to bring. You can feel free to invite more people. So you've got a team of maybe 20 or 25 folks who are actually playing for the day. But this is a great time for other coworkers, family, and friends to come out. We regularly have lots of spectators, and I think it's great. We are not in a position to provide supervision or activities for kids, but kids are very much welcome. There's a lot of families who are out there. You can feel free to bring your own tent if you want to set that up the afternoon before. We set all of our things up, and you're welcome to do that early that morning, a pop-up tent or whatever, chairs. If you want to bring more food, more drinks, coolers, your own cornhole game, your own boombox, whatever. You can tell how old I am because I just said boombox. Anyway, all those things, I always say this is mid-September, so sunscreen and hats and all are great. Please do not bring children that you cannot supervise, or at least take turns supervising them on your team. Pets, unless they're service animals. And this is a YMCA event on a college campus. So no alcohol, no tobacco, no weapons, which I would think should go without saying, but you know, it's in there because it's happened. Anyway, so we just want to have a really, really safe day and an enjoyable day for everyone. So your team needs to consist of regular employees of your company. If you have multiple locations, regional offices, all in this area, that's fine. People who are at least 18 years old. We do allow spouses to come on, and I'm not going to ask anyone to provide me with documentation that shows that you're married. If you say this is your spouse, we will accept that. Your minimum number to really field a team is about 18. It just becomes mathematically difficult to participate in every single event with fewer than 18 people. Somewhere in that 20 to 25 is usually a really nice sweet spot. And then mathematically, because of our expectation that every person on your team participates in at least 2 individual events, your top is right at 28. So recruiting that team is one of your top goals now. We just, again, we ask you, or whoever your CEO person is, and that we define as your highest ranking local person. So whoever that person is, that's your highest, the buck stops here with him or her in this market. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Kelly, you're saying 28. This is a generic, Kelly's asking the question. I must have done the math. Because then 29 would be how many slots we have. You did read that, girlfriend. I'm doing about 28 different things right now, so we'll get to that. So if your manual says it, I did the math on it. You'll see when we get there. When we get to the grid, you'll see. The 29, because every person has to do 2 events. So 29 means that there's 58 slots. Originally, there were 56, and then we changed an event and it became 58 slots. And that is if it's perfect. That's like 29 if you perfectly can put each person in exactly 2 events that will work. So that's why as you start doing that, you'll see what that looks like. So that CEO statement, basically, we're looking for that person who is your local highest ranking person. We love to have that person come out and participate if possible. I think it's a game changer for your organization when your top leadership is out there. Those folks love to be in a competitive situation together, I think. And it's just good for them to see what you've been working on and how well the team is working together. You don't have to have that person out there, but if they are, then that's great. So you'll see every event that is more than one person has a minimum number of females who need to be in that event. And we do that to just try to keep things even. In some cases, it doesn't matter. An egg toss doesn't matter. In tug of war, it can matter. So those are minimums. You could field a team of all females if that is what worked for you. And we have had companies that are more skewed like that and do. That's fine. Those are minimums. And again, we're looking for every person who's on your roster to participate in at least 2 events. Sometimes you have people who want to do every one, but at least 2. And really the reason for that is because we've had folks where in the past, maybe where they parachute in, they do one event and then they disappear. We really want this to be more of a team experience where everyone is together. And so that's why we have that 2 event rule. All right, so I'm going to do a very quick rundown of events, just photos and a couple of little clips so that you all can see what is involved in the day. 1 mile run, exactly what it says. It is, and it's not exactly a mile because the Pensacola State track is a little bit of an off, but it's very close to a mile. This event, the one thing that's different about it is we run a flight of men and we run a flight of women. So you can have 2 women runners, but one will have to run with the men. We don't have chips. We don't have, time clocks. This is a place finish run. So just to note that the winners are determined by the lowest combined finishes. So if your woman comes in first and your guy comes in 20th, then 1 plus 20 is 21. If another team has a second place and the third place, 2 plus 3 is 5, they beat you. So sometimes people get confused about that. Gosh, our guy was so fast or our girl was so fast, but it's the combined time that does it. Closest to the pin is golf accuracy. So we provide the mat and the balls and a target. This is the only piece of equipment that you all will have to bring out that day. We're not going to try to provide golfers with a club. We know most golfers are going to want to bring their own. So that is the one thing that will need to happen. And they will have 3 opportunities to see who can get closest to that target. This is, you can see in this picture on the right, this is a long time ago where we used to make them go right into the morning sun. That may or may not still happen this year, just to make it more interesting. All right, here's a little clip of an obstacle course. This changes every year, but this is a version of some of the elements we had a couple of years ago.
You finished. You're sure to get your finish.
That changes every year. We do try to have a combination of a couple of events that might be a little more teamwork cooperation or a little more fun, and then ones that might be a little more physical. That is a two-person event, so both people have to cross the finish line for that to be done. Here's sod surfing. Also this is a very teamwork cooperation event. We have had teams in the past who have made their own sod surfers, so they can practice because they want to practice, which raises a question I almost every year have people say, can we borrow equipment ahead of time? And the answer just is no, because we have to go through making sure we have everything. And the last thing we can run the risk of is having something disappear or break right before the event. And we do want to make it fair. So some of these things are a little easier to practice if you're that interested in practicing ahead of time. Sod surfing. Okay, hot shot is just basketball accuracy. So you can choose to shoot from very close and score a point, or go further out and get 2 or 3. So that's a two-person event where while one person is shooting, the other gets rebounds, and then you trade off. Hula hoop it up is simply a hula hoop competition. Who can keep the hula hoop up the longest? We start just with straight hula hooping, and then we start adding extra things. Close your eyes, stand on one foot, walk backwards, whatever it takes to get people to drop the hoop. This is an event from last year. I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to tell you about some changes that we've made to make this a little bit more challenging.
There you are. There you are. Come on, Nate. Come on. Oh, slow it down. Slow it down.
So we decided last year that was not difficult enough. So a couple of changes. Rather than those Rubbermaid tubs, we are using 20-gallon trash cans this year. So 20 gallons is not like those giant industrial ones, but it's pretty substantial. They'll be about halfway filled with water. So that means water weighs about 8 pounds a gallon. So that's an 80-pound trash can. So instead of 5 people on the ground and 1 setter, you'll have 4 people on the ground and 2 setters, but those 2 setters together need to be prepared to lift 80 pounds of water in a trash can to put it up on their teammates' legs. We are going to issue the socks this year. They will all be new and clean socks for each person, but we will be issuing the socks so that there is consistency in that. We've tested this, and it is more difficult, but doable. And so just letting everybody know, it's going to be a little bit different for anybody who did see that last year. Frisbee Chaos is a throw frisbee, catch and hold event. Okay, question from Kelly, how the socks are taken off. Hands, absolutely. So in that event, anybody can coach. Once those setters put the bucket on everybody's feet, they have to back off. And then it is whatever way you can get those, the individuals who are on the ground can absolutely use their hands to pull socks or feet, and they can only touch the trash can with their feet. If you touch with your hands, or once you do that, you're done. Thanks for the question. So the Frisbee event is 2 people with a where you have to catch and hold. So the big decision point there is, when do I stop? Because do I run the risk of dropping all of my Frisbees? Raft relay is exactly what it sounds like. How quickly can we cross the pool in raft? We don't care if you paddle forwards or backwards, as long as you're paddling. There are some very specific instructions about that handoff, who can do what. There's printed in the manual. And I do this very quick thing. We have a person who is in charge, an event coordinator for every one of these events. And that person is typically a YMCA professional employee or someone that we have as a very, very high level volunteer who's done this. And they know the rules, and we do review those things before each event. So we do want to make sure everybody understands. I'm sending you the captain's manual. I'll have the recording of this. If you have people who really want to, make sure ahead of time, we really encourage that. But I live in the real world, and I know that not everybody is going to read everything ahead of time. So our event coordinators do go over those right before. The executive toss is a straight egg toss. So we just keep backing you up. And if you break your egg or drop your egg, you are out. Here's this football event. This can be a little bit, sometimes a little hard to understand from the description. So I think this will help. The little video clip here. So in this event, the quarterback and the center line up back to back, and then we put a mask on the quarterback just to make it a little more interesting. We like masks. Blindfolding is fun. You do not have to turn around to throw the football like an actual quarterback would. Chucking it over the shoulder is just fine, as some of these folks do. So you'll see in this that there are 3 people who are actively playing that center quarterback receiver. And then the additional 2 people on your team are really there to shag the balls, to just move them back. So, so anybody can coach and do that. We just want to make sure that we get those through. This is probably a good time to say that some of these events tend to generate ties, especially basketball, frisbee, and football, because with the time frame that we have, there will frequently be 2 teams who catch exactly the same number. When we're racing against the clock, we go out to hundredths of a second. So it's very rare, if ever, that we have a tie there. But in these we do. So I just encourage you to remind your folks, if you're in an individual event, hang around a little bit and make sure, because if we have to have a tiebreaker, we want to do it right there. We do our very best. I just hammer into our folks, no ties, no ties, no ties. We really want to make sure that we have a clear first place on down on each event. So sometimes we will have to get back on the PA and say, hey, I'm looking for the 2 folks from YMCA or from, Baptist who did football, please come. But just a little quick note. The 4x50 quick change, this is a 50-yard. So it's a 4x50-yard running relay, but instead of handing off a baton, we have some 3XL clothes that you have to put on, shirt and pants to run. Whether you decide to run with or without shoes is up to the runner. It's fine. We have moved this event onto the grass just because we decided that would be a little bit less likely for there to be an incident when someone is running. So dodgeball, very kind of typical dodgeball event.
Oh! Number 6.
This is a pretty intense one. I put my husband in charge of this event. He likes it. He manages to stay calm, I think, most of the time. Anyway, so 3 people on your team who will rotate in. You start with 1 person. When that person gets hit or steps out of bounds, they're out. The second person goes in. So this is the last person standing. We also run a clock on it because again, sometimes we've got to use time to determine who can eliminate their competitors the fastest. And what we do with this is work it down to 3, and then we have the top 3 will then vie in a final match for first, second, and third in dodgeball. Sink it. So this is sort of a giant round version of another game you may have played or seen played. Sorry about the airplane. We are near the airport. So this event, you get different points based upon which bucket you land in, and that is visually represented in the captain's manual as well. You don't have to bounce the ball. You can do a straight throw. And both of you are basically on your team are throwing at the same time. And then we add up points. This is another event that could have ties. Wheelbarrow relay. More blindfolds.
Go, 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 go.
And so the person who is in the wheelbarrow is giving directions to the blindfolded person pushing the wheelbarrow to help them go and pull their stakes, their tagged stakes out of the ground, and then they'll trade off and do it the other way. Really good in this one to have a couple or really close friends participate. I enjoy that. Okay, here is our new event for this year, the split mug race. So I have no video because we have not done this at an event yet. And you're going to have to imagine it's a level playing field for everyone. So we have these mugs now, which are basically 2 halves of a very large mug. And there's a little gasket, the little red gasket around there, that when you hold them together exactly right, then you can make one solid mug. But it is incumbent upon the 2 people are each holding a side to work together to not lose the water. So you'll have a trash can full of water and then another vessel you'll be moving the water in. And this will run like a little relay. So 4 people on your team, 2 will go. When they come back, they hand off the mug to the next 2, they will go. And we will weigh the water in the receiving bucket to determine who has moved the most water successfully. You have to get your water in the bucket before the whistle blows. If you're actively pouring water in when the whistle blows, we'll have you stop, and that will be everything that you have. So this is a new event. Whenever we have a new event, we never know exactly how it's going to go. Those of you who were around a couple of years ago when we did table surfing, really fun, but a little rough, we decided, we did a tire toss one time. That didn't go as well as we thought. So we're hopeful that this is going to be something new and fun and really emphasize teamwork. And then finally, we have our tug of war, which is the final event of the day. This is run as a single elimination tournament. We have the tug of war ropes. We strongly encourage whoever is going to be participating on your tug of war event to bring gloves. Weight gloves, yard gloves, work gloves, whatever, because they don't have to have them, but those ropes can really be rough on your hands if that gets pulled through. The other thing that I like to emphasize, no cleats on this event. Almost every year we have somebody who puts on cleats and then we have to have them take those off because we do feel like that gives an unfair advantage. And so, so you cannot have cleats while you're doing this event. This is just a sheer will. We have a flag in the middle and there's 2 sidelines. And when you pull the flag over your end, you win. So you'll continue to advance through that bracket till the final 2 folks go head to head. And we will, if you're pulling back to back, we do rest a minute or 2. And then you move into that next pull. So this is a lot of fun to end up the day. So there are a couple of other things that we offer as a way to get more people involved and to make it maybe a little more interesting. And that's our t-shirt competition and our banner competition. So you do not have to make a t-shirt, but we do want you to be identifiable as a team. So if you have already a company shirt or an organization shirt that you want to wear, then that is fine. If not, I've had groups before who do knee socks or bandanas or something so that we can tell these are the people who are playing from Ailstock or from Buffalo Rock, we know. But most teams will do a t-shirt. The rules for that is whatever your creation is, the concept, the idea and the design has to come from within your organization. So some people will have, it doesn't have to be your team captain or even a member of your team. It could be somebody else, but someone in your company or organization needs to say, here's what our t-shirt is going to be. You can then work with anyone you want to print those shirts. But this is not a going to a graphic designer and saying, hey, make me a shirt and then see what happens. We're looking for you to interpret your company, to include the why, and to do something with our theme, which this year is the quest for the cup. So however you choose to interpret that, the story I usually tell is we had many years ago, our theme was Blast from the Past. And Sandy Sansing had a team and they had a big old like Studebaker automobile on the front, but the license plate had a Y logo and it was kind of a throwback car. I mean, it was just how they really did it. It was a really cool shirt. So it gives you an opportunity to just be creative. We are very protective of our Y logo and brand, as I'm sure you are of your logo and brand. So I am going to send out logos when I send everything out after these meetings. If you want to do one of the colored logos, you can, but please be careful with that. Most people, I say, it's just easier if you just put it in black or white. Then you don't have to worry about that. And we ask that you please do not put our logo in a sombrero or on a surfboard or anything like that. It should stand on its own. If you want to put your logo in a sombrero or on a surfboard, that is fine. We also limit shirt printing to 3 colors. And we do that because full color screen printing can be very expensive. And so part of the challenge is how simple can your design be and still be creative and something that can win. So we're trying to, I've seen people with a single color printing on a single color shirt have a great shirt. If you do want to participate in the t-shirt competition, we ask that you drop off. We need an actual shirt. We need an actual shirt by 5 p.m. on Monday before the event. And so that is in dates we'll go over. And I'd like to get it here at downtown, but if it's more convenient for you to bring it to our Vickery Center or to even to our Navarre location, we can do that. But we need an actual shirt because then we have volunteers, some board members and our advisory committee and folks who are not, don't have a dog in the hunt. They're not involved with any of our teams, but they come in and judge those ahead of time on the exact rules that are laid out in your captain's manual. If you need that shirt back, because you have just the right number, I can get it back to you, but we actually judge a physical shirt. If for some reason you have any concerns about your design, we are happy to take a look at it before you print. You just got to send it over and say, do you see any reasons why this is not a good idea? We also offer a banner competition. Most people will connect the same type of theme and image they're doing on their t-shirts to their banners. And same thing here. This is not a go to a screen printing shop and have them printed. These are for people, for you all to actually create and make. So you can see these are, screen printed. Spray painted. This is literally, things that have been cut and paste. So anybody can work on your banner if you do one. Some people will put these up in their conference room, or maybe you've got a really creative person who says, I don't want to run, I don't want to catch anything, but I will do a banner on my kitchen table. I got it. So again, looking for creativity and how you interpret the theme. And then that becomes something that you can march with on opening ceremonies and put at your tent during the day. We have volunteers as well, some board members and volunteers who will actually judge those on the day of the event, people who have no connection to any of our participating teams. We also give out a Spirit Award. The Spirit Award is, it's not a technical numerical thing. It really is everyone on our core leadership team who's working, where during the day we come together. Who do we think has earned the Spirit Award? Sportsmanlike competition, cheering for everyone, having a good time, really embodying the spirit of the games. So Golf Wins won that last year, and it's sheerly a fun award. I have people who say, we know we're not competitive in anything, we're going for the Spirit Award. So whatever that looks like for your group. Just a quick note about scoring. When we are done with all team registration, one of the reasons we ask you for the number of local employees in your company or organization is because we split you into small and large companies. Normally, the break point for that is about 200. It could be 150, it could be 225. It really depends on who registers in any given year. And so we will do a first, second, and third place in the small company division and a first, second, and third on the large company division. But there's only one overall winner. Everyone is scored in the same points system together. And mathematically, it works out. If we're giving one person for first, one for second, one for third, the points will separate everyone out. You might think, I think it's intuitive. People say, oh, companies with thousands of employees are always going to win. But actually, last year, our winner was somebody from the small company division. So it really can go both ways. We put this number of points, 9 points for first, 8 points for second, because again, we don't want to have a tie. In all my years of doing this, more than 20 years of doing this, one time at the very end of the day, we ended up with a tie for third place, and we had to come up with a tiebreaker right at that moment. But we want to make sure there's clear winners. Again, if your local CEO participates, you get bonus points for that. It's not meant to penalize someone whose CEO might be traveling. It's just to get that leadership out there. So we do all these. And then in each individual event, there's a first, second, and third. And we do recognize those folks in that individual awards ceremony. So a couple of important dates. I'm going to be doing individual follow-up with anybody who is a silver sponsor, that I need to make sure that I have your logos, because we do signage and our volunteer shirts and all the printing and everything we do for you. We want to make sure all of our payments are squared away by August 23rd. That's a month ahead of time, and that just means we don't have to be worried about that. If one way or the other we come down into those last couple of weeks, and I'm going to show you what these forms look like, but we will want a signed CEO form, whether your CEO participates or not. It's just that person's affirmation that everyone on your roster meets the eligibility and that you all are going to play by the rules. And then we look for a signed waiver from everyone who's on your team. We're really big about waivers here at the Y. If you have multiple people in multiple locations, you can, I'm going to email the form to you. You can send as many copies as you need and get them back to us. We're just really want to make sure that people have signed that. And sometimes we're catching people the morning of, but we do try to get that done ahead of time. The Thursday, 1 week ahead of the event, we will draw for heats. So every one of these events, it is a random draw that determines who goes first. And so sometimes it doesn't matter. You know, if you're hitting the golf ball, you're hitting the golf ball. That's the same. But some things could matter. The new events, maybe watching someone else helps. Obstacle course, maybe watching someone helps. Tug of war, who are you going up against? So we do all that randomly the Thursday a week, and then we send those to you. So if you're interested in knowing who you're going to go head to head with, first round of tug of war, or where you're going to be in the raft relay, you'll know. Then on that Monday, the 16th, if you're going to turn in a shirt, we want it by 5 o'clock. that's also when we're gonna ask for your team grid, and I'm gonna show you what that looks like. It is the little item we've put together to help you organize your team. Now, things may change, somebody might get sick, somebody's got a last minute issue and you have to make some changes. But at least if by that Monday, you've got a pretty good idea of who's doing what your team looks like, it helps us all to be ready for Saturday. So one last quick word about this, and then I will just give you a quick peek at the documents you're going to get from me. We absolutely want you to come out and play hard. We want you to represent your company. We want you to get fired up as an organization and have a good time. We also just like to remind everybody that we're YMCA directors, and we work with a lot of volunteers to pull this off. We are not professional referees. We do not have chips. We do not have instant replay. We're going to get out there and do the best we can to keep things fair and level. Sometimes there is an issue that comes up and we really want you to come and say, hey, I think there was a mistake. We make mistakes. There's a lot happening and it's very fast. We really are looking to make sure that everyone plays fair on that day. So I'm going to show you all just a couple of quick things that are going to come from me. You're going to get 3 documents as well. You're going to get a lot, but you're going to get everything that you really need. All right, so a CEO form, very simple, where if your CEO is participating, you tell us them what, and then they just sign off on the roster. We also will have a waiver form, and the waiver form is really just name and signature. There is that says that I am waiving and releasing if I get injured from my own. I've only had 1 or 2, and it was a young girl who got overheated and fainted, but we got her into first aid and she was fine. And then a woman who really kind of torqued her knee on tug of war and said, I shouldn't have been doing that. So we want to be safe. And then the participant grid is really, this is the really helpful thing that we have, that you can list your people. And then we have each of the 4 rounds of events. So you can see that this one person cannot be in more than 1 yellow, more than 1 blue, more than 1 green. And then if you use numbers, when you do this, it will add up for you. So we want every person to be in at least 2 events. And then at the bottom of the roster, it tells you what number you must be aiming for. You need 10 people in tug of war, you need 2 people in obstacle course, that type of thing. So I send this to everybody in an Excel sheet to make it easier. I would just ask that you please use the Excel sheet. One year I had a team captain who printed this out, filled it out with ink pen, liquid papered over it, made some changes, and then took a photo with her phone and texted it to me the night before the event. And that just really makes it a little tough. So we do want to kind of try to use these tools. I had someone who didn't like this sheet, so he made his own sheet, which is great, except now it doesn't look like any other sheet we're looking at, so it makes it a little bit harder for us. So if you have suggestions for how to improve these things, I would love to hear that. We're always trying to improve, but we want to give you these things so that you really have what you need. So that is what I have for you today. My follow-up for today is to send the recording of this meeting, Captain's Manual again, and the documents that come back to the Y, as well as some Y logos if you want to incorporate them into t-shirt or banner. Otherwise, this is what we put together to make sure that that you have what you need to have a successful day. So any questions that I can answer for you all right now, knowing that of course we're available anytime, email or call between now and event day.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
One, the hula hoop, are there different sizes or is it all one size?
Every hula hoop is exactly the same. It is a large version hula hoop that has the little balancing water kind of stuff in it, but it's all exactly the same. We go to great lengths to make sure that every person is getting the same piece of equipment, same raft, same wheelbarrow, same hula hoop, same socks to keep things even.
Okay, and then my second question is for the t-shirt, do the words Quest for the Cup need to be on the t-shirt?
So
Or,
they don't have to. If
Okay.
you want to interpret that however you want, just know that exactly what's printed in the captain's manual, I print that out. And when we invite our volunteers to come, and our volunteers, I get a mix of people, different ages, different backgrounds. I do have one professional graphic designer who usually comes to weigh in more of the design, but most of these are wide leadership volunteers. And so we're giving them and say, here's what we're asking people to do to represent their company in the Y, and how do they interpret the theme. I always tell them to, my bottom line, and my first CEO taught me this. He said, ultimately, a good shirt is one that you're going to wear after the event. So I always tell volunteers that too. Do you want to wear this shirt? It's a good looking shirt. Is it kind of cool? Is it kind of fun? And keep that in mind. So it's not an exact science. You don't have to have any of those elements. Those are just the things that we give you to kind of give you some guidance and inspiration.
and then the third, would we be able to get copies of the videos so that we could show our,
So when in the recording of this meeting, all those little video snippets should be in there. They're embedded. I mean, I've got like hundreds. So if that doesn't work for you for whatever reason, I can drop them into like a Google Drive or something and share a Dropbox and share them with you if that doesn't work for you, using the actual video of this meeting.
okay, great, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited to see the Buffalo Rock team.
We're getting pumped. I got a few questions too.
Okay.
Just piggyback off Crystal. Okay, one, and I'll just kind of go through order of whatever I remember. We can bring our own tent. Do we need tables? Or is it-
anything that you want at your spot is you would be bringing. So
Okay.
if you want tables, chairs, tents, if you want hammocks, I don't know, I'm just making stuff up.
Right, just making it stuff
That
up.
is, whatever you want is at your spot. Yes.
Okay, because I didn't know how much, because I know lunch is being served, but I didn't know what the situation was
Well,
with that.
we've got at the food area, like where Olive is, they'll be serving, and they'll have, the plates and the utensils and the napkins and all that comes with you. We have a little area where we're handing out, like where we do the beverages and other snacks and food, and those are kind of set up. But we bring a minimum amount of tables out there just because it's a lot to haul. We're hauling
Right, to bring it.
equipment out. Mhm.
Okay, then and I think you answered it on the last with the grid. So the times where it has the quadrants of you've got 4 events, those times are set for those events already.
They are.
Okay, because
And
that
that-
was my,
No, those are set at, some of that is based upon available locations at the college.
okay, got
When
it.
we can get in the
Because,
gym, when we can get in the pool, I try to level out about how many people you have to have slated each hour. I don't want you to have 15 people working 1 hour and 5 another. There's a lot of methodology that goes into that. We do the run first because we want to use the track and then not have to worry about managing people on the track. There is some methodology to it.
so the heat drawing is to figure out,
Order.
or that's what I thought. Okay, because I was trying to figure out how are we
Yeah.
gonna, if we don't know, how will we tell this person you're gonna be doing frisbee and egg okay, so now we'll know that one.
So like, that's why you can't, obviously, you can't put them in 2 events that are happening in the same slot, because and it could be that they're first in one event and last in the other, but you
But you just don't know because of
You
the
don't
heat.
know.
Now I
So
got it.
that's why.
Okay.
Yep, so the heat drawing is to keep a level playing field for who goes first and who goes after and all that as well. Mhm.
That makes
And
sense.
usually all of our event coordinators, what I've trained them to do is when they're ready to start their event, they do a quick roll call. I'm doing a quick roll call. Holler if you're in the house. Boom, 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 boom. So that if someone's not missing, if someone's missing, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you're there and we get you in your spot and all that. But that's part of the reason why we do it ahead of time and let you know.
Okay, and then as far as like participation, like the 1 mile run, you're looking, I think you said right now 15 companies. So if
No,
everybody represented,
yeah, it looks like we'll have a little bit more than that. I'm pushing for 20 altogether,
okay,
but some people are entering 2 teams Navy Federal is entering 2 teams. It looks like Pensacola State might enter 2 teams, 2 totally separate teams, 2 totally separate rosters, because they just have more people who want to
Right.
participate than they can fit on one. So that's always an option too. So, you know, it comes down to like the tug of war bracket. I mean, I wait until I'm at there. I'm like, okay, I need a single elimination bracket for this many teams. So somebody might get a bye, you know,
Right, yeah,
just because of that. That's the only place that you would draw a bye, would be in the tug of war. Everything else, and then I try to break it up so that you're never running an event alone, unless everybody's running it alone. You know, we want to make sure that there's the excitement of 2 people going head to head or 3 going head to head at the same time.
that makes sense. And then I had one other question. It was just about the event, about the raft. It looks
Okay.
super fun. Read through the instructions, got it, saw the video. So first team, they're in the raft. They go down. The 2 other people, they're not on the side of the pool. They're in the water, aren't they?
Yeah, and then you can help them, like the first 2 can help their other folks get in.
Okay,
They've got to be in and ready, and we're very, it's because we're trying to discourage diving.
okay, that's what I was trying to figure out how. So you got to get them in the raft, and then the other 2 people, they
And, yep,
get
and
out of the
our-
raft, whether it be the side of the pool
Yep,
or the
however
water.
they get out,
Okay.
dump yourself out. And our aquatics director runs that event, and she's always done it. So she's really, really good about making sure everybody understands that. You know,
Okay.
we really don't try to disqualify anybody. I mean, a DQ is a last option for someone who's blatantly, you know, in the raft event, it would be, I'm deliberately paddling into the other person's lane to interfere with them. You know, it would have to be really, really egregious for us to disqualify someone. We really want to make it work. So we're going to go through, let's make sure everybody understands how this works. And, you know, if we have to, we've had times where a piece of equipment fails, so we figure out how to adapt. So it's the same for everyone.
That makes sense. I think that's everything for now. Those are just some of the things that when I was
Yeah.
reading through the
Well,
captain
it's a
manual,
first time.
manual. Yeah,
Yeah. Seeing everything in action makes it really real too. It's fun. We have a few new teams this year, so it's really exciting to have some folks participating for the first time. Florida Blue, Pin Air, Buffalo Rock, a few people who are new folks, so we're pretty excited about it. So, all right, I am going to thank you all.